Have you been asked in an interview that how much do you think we should pay you given this job? That's a question that many of us have been asked during interviews. It is a $1 million question that needs a specific answer. That question alone will either determine whether you will be qualified for the job or disqualified for the job. I'm Nashon Mwakazi. I'm here to take you through the interview process. So to begin with, an interview is a session that has been organized by the management of a company so as to fill a vacancy of someone or somebody who had exited that slot. It could be a manager's position, or they needed a receptionist, or they wanted a marketing manager, or any other slot in the company. The moment it falls vacant, then there is a great and dire need of doing an advert, and of course calling as many people as possible to either send their applications, curriculum vitae, or come on session one-on-one to sit for the interview. Sending your resume is so easy, because after all, no one is aware whether you've done it or not. But what makes the major difference is, suppose you have been shortlisted, then you are actually called upon for the interview. What do you do? I'm going to take you through the interview process. So a day before the interview, ensure that you have all your documentation properly maintained. Ensure that you have all your certificates put on board. Ensure that if your resume is also needed, put it on session. If any document is needed, ensure that you pack it a day before. I repeat, pack your documents a day before, because I understand the rush hour that comes the D-Day during the interview. Then before the interview, we are still in the pre-interview session. Like today, then the interview is tomorrow. So like today, arrange your all your documentation. Number 2, ensure that at least you set aside the cloth or the attire that you will put on tomorrow. Allow me to give you a glimpse about how you need to put on. The dress that you need to put on during the interview should not be too casual or overly dressed. Mwakazi, what do you mean by overly dressed? Of course, let me begin with the ladies, because we always say that ladies first, okay? Fine. For the sake of a lady, you really need to ensure that whatsoever you're going to put on is comfortable. It all begins with comfort, because I can tell you right now to go and put on a given kind of dress or a given kind of skirt, but at the end of the day, you feel so much uncomfortable being in that kind of attire. But ultimately, do also some research about the dress code of that job. Remember, I have no specific dress code for an ultimate job, but my concern is also find out, are you being called for an interview for a DJing job? Then put on like a DJ. Or are you being called for an interview as maybe a CEO somewhere? Then do your research how CEOs put on. Ensure that you invest in some official suit, or for both gender, okay, for the lady and for the gent. So arranging your attire is also very important. And by the way, something concerning the attire, there are colors that are mostly for corporate. And if the kind of interview you're going to attend tomorrow is an official corporate or official office interview, ensure that you put on official as the occasion demands, okay? And here are some of the colors that you really need to consider. Number 1 is blue. Blue, way back in school, concerning color psychology, blue is a color of elegance, all right? Blue is a color of health. No wonder you'd realize that quite a good number of these hospitals are painted color blue. Blue is a color of health. Number 3, blue is a color of royalty, because we always have royal blue, all right? So always invest in blue. Number 2, invest in gray. Gray is, concerning color psychology, gray is a color for wisdom. So you can put on your gray and appear during the interview. They can see, wow, a wise man just landed. Huh? Number 3, for the sake of color, ensure that you also invest in white. Of course, yes, white is a color of purity. White is a color of innocence, okay? When you put on white, you come out as someone who is blameless. You can at least appear for that interview, and the manager is like, at least we can consider this one. She will not steal our money. All right. So other than those colors, there are the don'ts. The kind of colors that you should not put on during the interview. Number one is maybe putting on a red dress. Red is often associated with danger. So you can imagine you are getting into an interview session and the entire boardroom has panicked. Why? Because of your appearance. Because like I told you before, your appearance will either get you the job or deny you the job. No wonder I'm taking my little time here to invest in matters pertaining appearance, okay? So if you were to put on red, then ensure that you do it with a blend of black, okay? Do black with a blend of red. Red will come out now powerfully as a color of power. But if you put on plain red, it will come out as a color of danger. For the sake of men, you can don your black suit, white shirt with a red tie. You know, that one is a color of authority, okay? Having said that, allow me now to move forward. Ensure that you do some research concerning where that company is, because it will sound so awkward. It is the D-Day for the interview. You have no idea the location of that company. You have no idea how far it is from where you are. Why do I consider matters pertaining doing your due diligence of having a brief research concerning where the interview will be taking place is you really need to invest in matters pertaining how much fare do you need to and fro, okay? So that tomorrow you don't get panic along the way that you don't have enough fare to the interview place. The other thing that you need to invest in before the due interview is find out how much they pay for that job group. Just find out how much they pay, because that will be the very first question that shall be asked to you the next day, that how much do you think we should pay you for this job? So if you do your research concerning how that job group pays, then you'll be at an advantageous position. Then ensure that you clean up, you put your house in order ahead of tomorrow. Finally, the D-Day for the interview. Wake up earlier than usual. If you wake up early, it will help you to prepare early for everything. It will set the day ahead. Do your meditation, do your refreshment, and ensure that you take a conducive breakfast. I didn't say breakfast, I say conducive breakfast, because you can take up something that when you go to the interview, you can imagine your stomach complaining during the interview, and it will indeed be a real embarrassment. So once again, ensure that you take a conducive breakfast enough for you for the entire interview session. Having woken up early and having put your things in order, ensure that you get out of your place to the interview place at a very earlier time, because you have no idea the kind of vehicle you are going to get to. Maybe you are using public transportation. You may delay for the interview, and that is how you'll be out of the session. So once again, ensure that you get out early, travel safely, and we are now imagining that you are in the interview. Arrive at the interview venue and don't talk too much. Don't greet everybody there, because once again you may look like a clown. Okay, be professional. I repeat, be professional. Have and observe the highest decorum of respect. Let me give you an example. The last job that I were at the gate, they were so strategic. I happened to have greeted the watchman before I got in, only to get to the point of reality that the watchman was the manager of that company. It was a prank. They had decided to play with our psychology, taking the manager to stay at the gate to impose as some kind of a watchman, so that they may learn your attitude concerning low class people. There are many people who have a negative attitude concerning watchmen, so they don't want to interact with people of the low class. But here is a secret. Ensure that you greet the watchman. He or she may give you some glimpse about the company. she or he may be like, you know what, this company really takes people of this kind of caliber, or that interview has been slotted from 8 a.m. So at least you'll get some good direction if you have a good rapport with the gatekeeper. Now, you are settled at the reception. You're waiting for the interview. Then finally, the door is often open, or there is a voice from inside that tells you, next patient. When you finally get in, knock at the door. Suppose it's locked, knock. If it's not locked, enter. But don't look at the door. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Don't look back. Okay? Just get in. If it's a matter of locking the door, lock it while looking at the panel. Okay? Lock it behind you. Don't turn to lock the door. All right? Why? Eye contact. Number 3, survey the room from the left to the center to the right in 2 seconds. Just do this. It will really help you to have composure, because remember, we handled stage fright before. So this is where you also now have to practice it as well as possible. Breathe in, breathe out. Then, of course, if they tell you to sit, have your seat. If they don't tell you to sit, please don't sit. It's a trick. Don't sit until they tell you what to do. Remember, you are at their mercy. Number 3, remember to smile. Smile at them. So you have to practice your smile. Even if it's a plastic smile, just try to smile, all right? Having smiled, smiling gives you some kind of confidence. Ready for the interview session. If they tell you to sit, finally have your seat. Then they'll begin their questions. I can't necessarily tell you the exact question that these guys are going to ask you, because we have different job groups. Okay? But here is a blanket answer. They are going to ask you 3 types of questions. Number 1, professional questions that will demand you to respond with regards to your area of qualification. Number 2, they are going to ask you questions that touch on, the work etiquette, the work environment, and that is purely social. Ensure that you are also ready to answer social questions. Number 3, these guys are going to ask you very disturbing questions to take you off guard. In short, they are going to ask you matters pertaining your psychology. So get ready for those 3 types of questions. Just know that you're going to answer professional questions. You are also going to answer social questions. You are also going to answer psychological questions that are like a missile thrown to you. You really need to get so much composed for you to answer and respond so accurately to those kind of questions. Lastly, they are going to pose that question. Why do you think we should hire you? Oh yes, why do you think we should hire you? That is a general question that really needs to be answered so accurately. If you don't respond to it with the much expectations necessary, it may also throw you off guard. Why does someone ask you that? It's primarily because they want to test you in 3 areas. Number 1, they want to confirm whether you are aware of your job. Number 2, they want to confirm whether you can really fit in. Because we are not only looking for someone who is professional, we are also looking for someone who can really fit in our environment. We don't want an activist. We give you a job today, tomorrow you have already called for a strike, and the entire company is striking just because of one person. So no CEO out there will ever employ an activist, even if you know you are right. But play safe. Just play safe for the sake of the job. Other things will come later. Don't show them all your cards. Be wise. I repeat, timing is everything, so be wise. If they dare ask you why they should employ you, why they should give you that job, number 1, tell them how qualified you are. Okay? Number 2, tell them about your work experience. How you have worked for such and such a company, how you worked with such and such organization, how you even volunteered in such and such a company. It will really help you. And finally, give them your bigger vision about how you want to see the company being transformed to the next level, how you want to support them in the bigger vision of the company, how you want to carry out the objectives of the company. And please, don't ever try to tell them, like my other friend responded. She began by, weeping. So she was like, I'm an orphan. I'm the only breadwinner in my family. Please just have mercy on me. Just give me this job. No, those people are not enticed by your tears. And come on, we are not employing a crybaby. Hello? We are not employing a crybaby. We are employing a professional who will not only go out of his or her way to ensure that the company profile is kept at par. So once again, an interview is just but a session that needs to be handled as natural as possible. Having said that, I strongly believe that at least you have an idea of how to pre and prepare for an interview session. I'm Nashon Mwakazi. See you.